Greetings. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. I think I took care of all the crazy, weird, and tragedies and stuff we had last week at this time, and I just can't remember exactly what they all were. But anyway, how's it going? And I remembered I mute everybody too. Woohoo! Bonus.
Ooh.
Let's see. I got the comments up. I got the banner up. I have my articles up. I think we're good. All right. So how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
It said 24 for a second. We always have this first minute into YouTube. We always have this weird lag in the numbers. I don't know what it exactly looks like, but we'll see. We got like a ton more channel subscribers, and that video I did last Saturday ended up getting pushed like everywhere, and so it's like it went about as viral as videos on my channel go. So I was like, is YouTube unblocking it? Because we had 3 videos in sequence that all took off, and so it's like my channel views went up to like 15,000-20,000 for the day, which is a nice scene. I mean, that's about where it used to be a long time ago. I'd say it was closer, like it hovered around 10 to 15K per day back before YouTube started doing some weird algorithmic stuff. But it's good to see those types of views come back with the updates to the DRM stuff. We do have some more stuff. I actually sat down today, and for my writing block today, I actually wrote out some basics of a script. So we're trying to do more planning on some of the videos. So this was a challenge that came up with one of the new subscribers or new supporters. Really is sick of smartphones and just sick of the ever-connected world. And so he's buying a flip phone. He's getting rid of all the smartphones. He bought an MP3 player because that's, where he works, he can listen to stuff on headphones. And so it's like, well, you need to do this and get an MP3 player. He's like, sounds great. So he did. And so right now I'm working on a video about managing podcasts without a smartphone. Of course, that does mean I am digging into some of the podcasts with a smartphone too, so we're going to include a little bit of that in the video. But I'm actually planning this video out in a little bit of advance, and hopefully I'll have it out either, if not mid next week, then next weekend. This weekend, we're talking about the email stuff. If you follow on the Matrix server, I push an update to Endeavor. Usually, you got to cross your fingers and pray when you update Arch systems sometimes. And I thought, man, we had a flawless Endeavor. Well, the good news is the Endeavor system didn't blow up. The bad news is we got weird audio pops, which actually were solved by just changing the audio source and changing it back. That was good. But then on the other hand, we had the new version of Thunderbird is so abominable to look at. It's like straining me on my eyes just have it open. And so it's like, okay, we got to go with something else. And so Saturday will be a video about alternative email clients on Linux and managing contacts on an offline and on a cloud-based systems. So stay tuned for that one. And, of course, weekly news roundup tomorrow at 8 Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 hour from now tomorrow. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good? Awesome.
Weather's nice here.
Good? Weather's nice? Good?
Yeah, here it's a mixed blessing because up north they have record temperatures, and the weather is awesome, and people are swimming and so on. And in almost all of south of Norway is in a state of emergency because for 2 days now, all of the major highways in Norway have been in the south have been closed due to flooding, and a hydroelectric dam failed and flooded the hydroelectric power station.
Yikes! That's not good. So you gotta probably have some power stuff.
So they are calling this a 50-year flood. They haven't seen a flood like this since the 60s.
Wow. Razzie just left a comment, let the Christian channel go live so we can tempt kitties. Yeah, no Christian video tonight. I spent like the entire day just trying to resolve some of these other issues on this Endeavor system. So it's just like I got to this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not prepared for the Christian stream. We're done. We're not doing it today. So that's kind of what I did. So that will be back on that channel next Monday. So yeah. So, one more update. I did end up ordering one of the Miracast devices. I did not order the one I was showing on the screen, which ended up having really bad reviews. So I went with one that only had somewhat bad reviews. Spent like $20 on it. We'll just kind of see the simple objective. Can we cast Debian's screen with Miracast? Sounds fun, right? So we'll just kind of see what happens. And then that's actually might solve a problem that our church has had too, where we're using like the is it AirDrop? What's Apple's version of Chromecast?
AirPlay or something.
AirPlay, yeah. We're using an AirPlay system, which unfortunately both Chromecast and AirPlay have to ping off of their servers, so it makes you wonder what type of data they're collecting. So our internet, we have really bad wires coming into the building, and our internet is down more than it is up. And so anytime the network goes down, we can't get the sermon notes or the slideshows or whatever else going on. We can't get all that up on the screens. And so it's like, why don't you use this option here? So it'll be a push, but we'll see. So that stay tuned for a video on that one as soon as that hardware comes in, which should be, I think, next weekend. I think is when it's allegedly going to get here. And then sometime after that, we'll see if we can cast Debian's screen all the way 3 inches over to the other monitor.
Yeah.
Awesome. The joys of living in a tiny van. I don't have a ton of useful application to have one such device, but you never know, But with that, I think we're going to get into our topics, right? So actually, we're going to do we have just a brief public service announcement, and then we will get into comments, and then once we're done with comments, then we'll come back and actually start the topic. So first up is Bram Molinar? Is that the pronunciation?
Yes.
He has passed away August 3rd. He is the creator and the the founder and the maintainer for Vim. So whatever was going on inside that man's head, none of us quite understand, right? I'm going to create a text editor that nobody can figure out without specializing in. But it is apparently extraordinarily powerful when you do take the time to learn it. So it's more of the joke than anything else, kind of like, running Gentoo, or it used to be like running Arch, but now it's like running Gentoo, installing Gentoo on your own, It's the golden thing. So
I saw a few talks of him this last week, and in one of them he commented on during his talks, because people were asking during his presentation, and he came and he mentioned Emacs as an alternative, although he was jokingly saying that maybe not a complete alternative, but he came across as he really didn't care what kind of editor you used. His stance was that learn an editor and find an editor that works the way you want, and that you like, and stick to that throughout.
I personally, I'm a Nano guy. I like Nano, and and to the point where I know all of the weird shortcuts and finding stuff and navigating documents and stuff, and that's what I prefer to use personally. But I started using Edit on MS-DOS back in the day, and then I discovered the Norton Commander, the one that Midnight Commander is based on. And I've used that for 10 years. And when I went to Linux, I discovered Midnight Commander, and then there was a few commands that required the use of Vim, suedit. The command to edit the sudoers file is one of them. So I had to learn it, and once I learned how to use it, I have been using the Vim editor for maybe 15 years at this point. Yep.
So I looked a little into his history, and the origin of Vim is quite interesting. He started at because he was a university professor, I think, but he attended university, and then he came across Unix, and he at home he used an Amiga, I think it was, and he needed an editor that worked, and he came across something that looked like the VI. It was a fork of VI that works on. I don't remember the name of it. It might have been NVI, but it was a proprietary fork. And then he discovered another fork, a proper fork of VI that was free software, and he used that to create initially an editor that he called Vim because the improved name in Vim came later. I don't remember what the first name was. It was Vim, but it stood for something different.
Yeah.
And this was so the initial public release of Vim was in 1988, in November 2nd of 1988.
Yeah. So tasteless joke wrote Vagabond Life says he successfully exited Vim. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen a few comments doing some homage to him by using the colon WQ, which I actually think is the wrong command because he died. Because he died, so the proper command would have been WQ exclamation point.
If I'm not mistaken, doesn't the colon bring up the menu?
There is no menu.
No, like the commands is what I mean.
Yeah.
What happens if you have to type a colon in what you're doing?
Yeah, because Vim has two modes of operation. The default mode is the command mode.
Okay.
And when you press insert or in the and for the keyboards that didn't have insert at the beginning, the I key, India key was used for insert to put it into insert mode, and then you can type whatever you want, and until you press the S key to leave
It's just funny to me that there's like commands, like being a writer, I might have to do something weird, like sometimes you just want to undo auto correct because of stupid stuff it do. It does remind me, last note here before we get into the comments is I do have the short story done. I'm going to run it through one more brief edit, which shouldn't take too long, and I'm planning to post it hopefully on the 15th. So everybody on all the supporter networks, you'll have an exclusive short story, and we'll do a video accompanying it either a little bit before or a little bit after. All right, checking in on comments first. We got 23 watching over on the Tubies. I won't call it force, but... more like the pushed if they don't want the Chrome OS, Android, iOS, OS X over Windows. Yeah. Admit Steam gamer stuff like Cloud Save Sync is handy when setting up a new PC. Yeah, I mean, there's reasons to use the cloud stuff. There's some reasons for that, but at the same time, I think that the conscientious computer user should be able to navigate beyond all that stuff with the local drives that's not dependent on internet. Like if I had to sync everything to the cloud to reinstall a computer, I couldn't do that. I don't have the bandwidth, Curving on, so want Linux to remain a third place for home computing, less likely to be targeted. That is very true. Although a lot of the targeting does go more corporate, we saw a lot more crossover into the home sector with people working from home more. So if you were talking about having a cloud-based computer system for an office building, and that's really where the targeting is right now, but we'll get into our topic here in a bit. As a libertarian, I'm used to third place. I even gotten third in barbecue cook-off 2 years ago. There you go. Let's see. Okay. Gonna flip through stuff from Valleys of Omega 4. Greetings. Hello, Moonbase Alpha Grays. Please don't take me to your leader. Let's see. Hope everyone is keeping cool in this crazy heat. It's actually not been bad here today. It was just nice. Grinding, cooking, and fishing in RuneScape. There you go. Oh no, did they get the kitty for 500 plus years of living?
Yeah.
Well, we'll give you a hint. That was at a polling location, so my Chinese chicken salad hasn't been beat yet, except by my own variations. Is that another way of saying your cat chicken salad? Really? What's going on here? Silver Ventures, greetings. Bishop of Eternity. I think it depends on how to roll it out. There you go. Disney hires a Dylan clone. Really? Oh, Lord. I have to look into that. I really need to invest in a new mouse. Yeah, no Christian video tonight. I got weird stuff going on in the YouTube comments too. They must have pushed out another update because I'm getting weird overlapping text that I can't really read. Let's see. And we have over on Odyssey, we got 18 Crunch watching on Odyssey. So let's see where everyone's Odyssey at. It's the same thing as every single time a new version of Windows comes out. The real waste and if, but how many? The answer is rather few. Yeah, we're going to address that too. That's in the bottom of my notes. Force to Linux, a fate worse than death. There you go. People I know, a dozen people who plan to switch to Linux. 2 of them are in web development business owners who plan to switch to Linux by 2024. It's too late, man. Switch now. Switch now. Like, I hope, unless they're slowly making the progression. If they're already tinkering around and playing with their software and things like that. I was actually very pleased to see, finally, on Manjaro, on the Raspberry Pi, Bluefish Editor is fixed. I kept on having to roll that back every time I updated. And I updated it, I'm like, oh boy, I hope I can roll back Bluefish. And they actually fixed it. It doesn't crash anymore. Right? For a couple versions in a row, it was crashing. On everything. So, but I think enough people were commenting. It was a known issue, so they got it fixed out. Don't really understand because companies can inflate price and say that is expensive. That's right. Welcome, STL crew. Greetings, Ridiculous. Welcome to you. Ridiculous, you can jump on too if you want. So the links are over on, I believe you're a Patreon supporter. The links are over on Patreon to jump on the call. This old iPod Shuffle with a rhythm box to manage podcasts. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. We got 12 watching on Odyssey, but nobody over there chatting right now. Inishot, I love Vim. It's my top 5 for software. Very good. Hey, Twitch is telling me I should update my stuff and add my bio and social media links and stuff like that. If Twitch wasn't such a useless platform, I might think about wasting my time on it. But hey, it's just here in case.
At least someone was chatting there.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. My mom said I have a face for radio. All right, Red. You
Yeah,
can turn the camera on if you want. I don't
uh,
know. If you want to participate, I know some people will jump on, but also Ridiculous. We hang out for a half hour after the show's over. So if you want to jump on after the show's offline, we'll be online for a half hour afterwards.
Yeah, so speaking of having a face for radio, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I stumbled across a new YouTube channel. Probably been going on for a few years at this point, but and he opens all his videos with that he has a face for radio and a voice best suited for print.
There you go. All right. And if he can do it, you can do it too. All right. Into our topic for the day. 20 minutes in. We need to get to this topic a little sooner. All right. This is an opinion piece from the Register, but it was a fascinating take, so I thought it'd be a great video. Soon, the most popular real desktop will be the Linux desktop. Now, it's not because Linux is going to take over. It's because everyone else is leaving the field. So Microsoft is moving Windows to the cloud, and this is new to me. Apple is actually moving to the cloud. You can get a mini Mac instance on AWS. Did anybody else know this? I missed it. This rolled out a few years ago.
What through me is Apple's using AWS servers for their dirty work, and they don't have their own.
Much. Come on, join us on the servers. But this makes me wonder, should I pick one of these guys up, test it out for a little bit, and see how I can manage a Mac through GNOME boxes? Because GNOME boxes, we use it sometimes for distro reviews locally, but GNOME boxes also allows you to connect to remote servers in desktop environments. So it might be something we could look at. That'd be
I'm almost assured that the web versions of this OS is run by some virtualization software anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's an Amazon EC2 instance. We'll look at that in a bit. But what he says here, opinion, if you count Android and Chrome OS as Linux, and I guess, I don't know, I'm not sure I sit in that camp specifically, but let's hear him out. Which I do, then Linux desktop accounts for 44.98% of the end user market. But if your idea of a Linux desktop is a front end of Cinnamon, GNOME, or KDE, I mean, he's leaving out like Boxes and GNOME and, you know, Cosmic and Pantheon. Of course, we could probably leave out Pantheon. Then it's more like 3.06%. Better than it has been at times, but no year of the Linux desktop. Maybe, though, it will be someday. That's not because suddenly everyone will realize Linux desktop is wonderful. Sorry, folks, it hasn't happened by now. It never will. But there's another reason the conventional idea of Linux desktop could become the top PC-based operating system. That's if the competition seeded the field.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with the competition seeding the field, the idea here is that if Windows starts pushing people to a cloud situation, then we have a case where you're paying your subscription. So like I was helping a client yesterday, had a mailing list like 2,500 people that have actually purchased products from their business, and she didn't have these, and we're trying to figure out the emails out of these. And so we had to export them out of the, I think it's like the UPS shipping database. And so the idea that we had is like, okay, we just need to get in there, and there's a way to do it, and it's highly complicated. Fortunately, I found somebody with a 1.5-minute video that showed us exactly how to do it. That's good. So she gets the CSV. All right, open the CSV, see if it works, and boom, your subscription has expired. Pay us now to renew your Office 365. You cannot even save the file if your subscription Office 365 has succeeded. So I sent her a link to OnlyOffice, and I chose OnlyOffice rather than LibreOffice because for somebody that does minimal office work, is not particularly computer savvy, and already used to Microsoft Office, OnlyOffice is probably a better choice in that case. So who knows? Maybe she'll install it, maybe not. I hope she just doesn't pay for that. But that's the problem, is that if everything's going to a subscription cloud, they're just trying to extract as much money as we can out of everybody. What's the UBI going to be? You know, it's just the government's just going to pay Microsoft, and all of us get to enter our government-sponsored ID, scan with our World ID Retina to access our online system. Great. That's a world I don't want to live in. So it's not, let's see, where were we at? That's exactly what Microsoft has been doing for years. I've been watching Microsoft working on moving you from PC Windows to a cloud-based desktop as a service, DaaS model. More proof recently surfaced, further substantiating Microsoft's grand cloud desktop scheme. They're talking about, we've already talked about them before, the Windows 365, and now we're enabling a cloud-based system. And these cloud-based systems are generally designed more for enterprise right now. However, there are lower tiers, and Mac has a few of these options as well. One of those being Mac in Cloud, Mac Mini M2 with 8-core CPU and 10-core GPU, all in the cloud. So you can come over here and you can pick them out. Here's $1 per hour, $25 per month. There's $49 per month, and $29 per month for an Azure agent. So there's a couple of different options that you can choose from. And then you can see the types of stuff that you have over here. And basically they're designed to plug into the system, and you'll be running a Macintosh in the cloud. So you can see here's a Windows computer, and they're accessing it through some form of software. Like I said, GNOME boxes can probably do this, and they're running a Mac inside of this application on your Windows. This looks like a Windows 10 picture. Mac and cloud, you got to update your stuff. Windows 11 is out. We need to make sure that it's working there too. And so even Mac is into this kind of stuff. So if more and more computers are going out to the cloud, what's going on? So there's my thought. What do you guys think so far?
So the first one of the thoughts that I had while I'm also watching the stream, so it was a little delayed, but it's interesting to see that there were 4 plans that I had, and the 2 cheapest one explicitly say that you don't get root access to the device or admin access. I found
Which
that,
ones?
and
Oh yeah, hold on, let me. Yeah, right there. No admin or root access, no admin root access, full admin root access, and this one, the Azure is non-interactive. Well, thank you. What does that mean?
I'm guessing that it means that you can't install custom software on the
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, and those most of those are still also targeted towards the developers. So the first line I had in my notes was the DaaS, the desktop as a service. So the Linux desktop is the unicorn. Wow, I'm getting attacked by trees apparently. So, Linux desktop. This is not like a cow or something. Like when I was out in the desert in Arizona. I don't know what that was. Got to check the solar panels over damage. Let's see. Linux desktop is a unicorn arriving every January and quickly fades away. But will its arrival occur with the progression to the cloud? All right, so the idea here is both Windows and Apple have been experimenting with their full operating systems in the cloud. And so far, these are targeted towards developers, not the basic home users. However, Windows has been pushing everything in the main home desktop increasingly to the cloud, moving people closer to cloud desktops. Like, you can't even log into your system without a Microsoft account. Like, what if your internet is out? Can you just not log in, or does it allow you to log in temporarily? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Sorry, I haven't touched Windows extensively since like Windows 7. So, but that's my first point is if more and more people are being pushed, it gives a greater opportunity to Linux. Now, does that mean Linux desktop is automatically going to take over? It's not, and we're going to get to that at the bottom of this. But does anybody have any thoughts or notes on that so far?
I think with basically Microsoft, Amazon, and all these companies pushing cloud services, I think what's pretty much going to happen is even though a good percentage of people use either Microsoft accounts or use just a normal local account, I think what's going to end up happening is as Windows gets more into the cloud, I think Microsoft is going to make a push to push more people to using a Microsoft account.
Well, that's exactly what Windows 11 is doing. Mm-hmm. Windows 10, they were forcing it near the end of Windows 10 cycle, which you could get around still by unplugging the internet when you booted your system on. Mm-hmm. And what I'm wondering is if that same thing happens, of course, with people progressively more connecting with wireless, it becomes harder to do that. In fact, even my friend, like literally his computer sits right next to his modem and he still accesses the internet wirelessly through an adapter, not like there's no wireless in the computer itself. I'm like, dude, plug a cable in.
Yeah.
Of course, I maybe I should give him a cable.
Yeah, that's
yeah. And Road Vagabond Live cloud equals creeps looking over your data. Amen to that. Anybody else?
That begs a different. You know, all the stuff that you've done in the past and purchased in the past, your MP3s, your photos that you've taken with your phone or your digital camera and stuff like that. Who wants to put them on the cloud? You know, you're giving away your stuff. That stuff should be kept local to you. It's yours. You paid for the MP3s, the pictures you took with your camera, they're yours. Don't put them out for whatever disaster can happen. You can have them.
Yeah, even on a Windows computer, even in Windows 10 era, some people were reporting that MP3 files and video files would disappear if Windows thought, oh, you shouldn't have that. Disappear it.
Well, back in Windows 95, you had Napster and stuff like that, you know, where people were downloading this stuff illegally.
Yep. So yeah, that really is.
And what about the streaming services? You know, will you route them through the cloud first, and then you can see them on your device?
Oh yeah. I mean, which sometimes works better too, because they can get the direct latency from the data center, which has much higher internet lines, much faster internet lines. This is why VPN services generally don't slow your internet connection down. They usually have a better, faster internet connection to you and to the internet than you do to the rest of the internet. This is why VPN services, by and large, don't slow your data
I've had
down.
bad luck with VPN services. I tried 2 of them and they were very slow.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, but I haven't played around with a ton of them. I know I host my own VPN because for me it's more about security than privacy, and so with that one, I've never noticed any.
I think
speed
one of them was
differences.
private internet access. That was the first one I tried. I was really disappointed getting out of the country with that one. I forgot what the other one was.
It's possible though, getting out of the country will be slower than going somewhere else in the country.
Yeah, but without the VPN, I could put in the exact address to something out of the country I wanted and it'd go to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never known them to have speed issues, but I've only used them for a little bit. I think I did have a private internet access account at one point in time. Let's see. The next thing that we have on my list is the problem with putting everything in the cloud, especially if your photos are there, if your contacts are there, if everything in your life is there and you have to access your computer through a cloud. Obviously, we have issues with the internet, but the point of access becomes the question. They want these, of course, accessible with your phone or with your tablet. But also the way to do this, as often I've seen working in the university setting, is a shell computer. So you go in and you got a computer that's just a shell of a system. It doesn't even have a hard drive in it. And the only thing it's there for is just to get onto the network and access all of your shares on the network access. Of course, the downside of the network access goes down. You can't access anything. But it begs this question about the shell computers and what's going on with those. And so the idea here is that we still have to have some device to access the internet. And this is really what that point is. So are we going to have the creation of new devices similar to Chromebooks that don't do anything except you open them up, connect them to an internet, just have a basic interface to connect to the internet, and then boom, it automatically goes to your computer? Or are people going to have different computers floating around? It's just their access is there. So I don't see a direct route to a consumer home-based cloud system, but those are the questions we have to all talk about.
Yeah, and the price that they want for your own little cloud thing, what happens if you have a life-changing event? You lose your job, you have to tighten your belts, you can't pay for your subscription anymore, but yet your pictures and your music and everything is all held hostage.
Correct. And that is one of the biggest problems with it.
But there's a bigger problem, and that is by hosting a lot of this on the cloud, you also need to take into account what you're allowed to store there due to terms of service and what people who there has been a few cases over the last couple of years where people have stored backups of their of their pictures on the cloud of their small children as they grow up, and then everything is deleted because the cloud service automation system thinks that one of them is a naked picture of someone that you shouldn't have.
Yeah,
which is none of their none of their business.
Mm-hmm. Well, it becomes their business though once it's on their server, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't be able. It shouldn't be their business if.
Correct. It shouldn't be forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be forced. And so these shell computers, I think I already mentioned most of this. Yeah, I think I mentioned that. So we're going to move on to the next point.
Well, it's also another problem. They're complaining about all this and green that, and they want to put everything on the grid, all the electric cars and everything. Mm-hmm. What about the additional servers and everything they have to throw on the grid?
Yeah, we talked about this.
This is another environmental problem that isn't being addressed. It's being glossed over.
Yeah, and we talked about this. I think it was the band news section last Friday about all the AI, the environmental toll of the
Yeah.
AI. I think it was business or AI section. I don't know. But yeah, the problem is with that is that we get too many cases where it's just consumes so much more data. But even look at the stuff that's being pushed. How much more energy are we using because we're having ads forced on us rather than not having ads, how much more data or energy are we using because the computers being shipped now are all super high and powerful, and your typical person doesn't necessarily need that. We just need something just to get on. It depends on what you need to do. This is why here in the van I have multiple different computers. I was actually working on an Aveda theme for a client for WordPress. It got so hard to do on a Raspberry Pi because it's just so much Node.js crammed in that crap. I had to do the last half of the work booting up a laptop. It takes more power, but at least I got the job done a little bit better. But if I'm just doing simple HTML files for websites, Raspberry Pi works great and it's super low power, so I'm not causing much of an quote-unquote energy footprint if I were so inclined to be super concerned about such a thing. But right now we're doing a stream. I can't do a stream on a low-end computer or even an average laptop. We are running a much bigger streaming and gaming PC for this purpose, but I only use it when I have to use it. And so it begs the question, what are these shell computers going to do? Are they going to be super good, super bad? Who knows?
Yeah, gaming, there's a lot of people out there that are PC gamers like myself that want to have a powerful PC and own their games. You buy your game from GOG and it's DRM free, You can't put that on a server and expect it to work properly. Look what happened to Google's gaming platform. I forgot the name of it.
Stadia. Yeah.
Stadia that flopped.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a
controllers
problem.
still work with some games.
Anything else before we move on to the next line? All right, so the next one is the power of Linux, and this is really for us as the Linux evangels to be speaking of. The power of Linux, first, it gives us the power to use a computer offline. There is I've mentioned the channel before, I think it's Jay Christina, who is more of a graphic designer guy. He went on an anti-Adobe, not quite a FOSS binge, but an alternative binge, because he's a graphic designer. He's like, I'm on vacation, but I still love my work. He takes his laptop, throws it in the back of his backpack, hikes on the top of a mountain, boots up his computer. He's going to be like, I was working here, right? He boots the system up, and he can't do any of his work because if Adobe Photoshop doesn't have a ping to the internet, it won't boot. It pissed him off something fierce. Don't piss off a guy like that, because he built an entire YouTube channel looking for alternatives in the creative source to Adobe. And he's not just going FOSS. I mean, he's other proprietary stuff. He's looking at everything. Literally, if it's an alternative, he has looked at it. Just because he's like, and his primary thing is, I do not want something that forces me to be on the internet, because if I want to take my computer for a week up on top of a mountain, because I have a big project and I don't want the distractions, I want to be able to do that and boot on my computer and do my work. That's the same thing, with Linux. We have the power to have a computer that has no requirement for being on the internet, which is a great thing. My writing computer is a really small computer, which has, it's almost never connected to the internet. I connect it to the internet just to push the files to the backups, after a week's worth of writing or something like that. But for the most part, that computer doesn't see the internet. The next is the power to store files locally, as Salbu was mentioning, with them, deleting whole accounts because they think you have an inappropriate picture in there or locking you out and things like that. And the one case where that happened to, it was a picture of the child's nether regions, because he literally is in the middle of COVID and the doctor says, take a picture of the child, send the picture to me so he can start the medical diagnosis process. He takes a picture with his Android phone, sends the picture through the medical portfolio. Google flags the picture, reviews it, and sends the police to his door and locks his account. Even after the police all verify with a doctor's office everything is fine, Google still would not give him access to his account. Everything that he was relying on there was gone. Okay, we also have a similar case. The director for the Writers Conference I was just at last year, Gmail was her email account. For some inexplicable reason, they locked this little old lady out of her email. She lost her emails. She lost her contacts. She lost her emails. This is the director for a conference who's been doing it for a decade. That's pretty serious. And I don't know if she did the backup points or not. But that's the type of stuff that can happen, because if they flag your Gmail account and kill your Google account, they kill everything. Like, everything's gone. Unrelated stuff's gone. And you don't have a way to get it back. But if you're running Linux, you can store all those files locally and access all those files locally. And then the third point I have is the Linux gives you the power of privacy and control. We have the ability to control our operating system and the ability to have privacy over our operating system. If I never want to put this computer on the internet, I don't have to put this computer on the internet because I have that privacy. But I also have the ability to control. I can control certain things, unless, of course, it's that Center Thunderbird theme.
Yeah.
Which I will play around. I will play around with the desktop settings and see if that is something on my end is possible. We'll play around with my desktop theme settings and see if it's not the desktop themes. I don't know. But that's that's really the idea here, is the ability to have that type of control, have that stuff to not have to be forced online and things like that. So those are my thoughts there. You guys have ideas on those?
Yeah, so my reason for using Linux, initially it was because it was free, and it was something I haven't heard before, so I had to try it. But after using it for a while, and especially after talk by Richard Stallman in Norway of 2005, I think it was, in Trondheim, I became convinced about the importance of having control of your computing, and ever since it has been having control of my computing, and I couldn't care less if there is something else that is best at everything. I don't care if it's not free software. I'm not using it.
Yeah, that's Anything else?
Cloud, no cloud. That's Skynet, Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Road Vagabond Life dumped Plex for Jellyfin when Plex wouldn't let me access my local server when my internet was down. Yeah, like you can access I think you can access your local server if your internet is down, as long as you have not created a Plex account. But once you've created a Plex account and sync those together, you can no longer do it, right?
Yeah.
Once you have a Plex account, you're multiplexing.
Uh-oh.
Nice, a good one.
Nice.
Yeah. So my phone is back to giving me fun message. Hold on. There's for you guys. If you can see it. It's weird languages.
Oh, broadcast.
Yeah, it's some notification that came through. So it's certainly some other language. It's some broadcast thing, which might be related to the tornado warnings that are coming down. I can't tell because it's in another language. So somebody sent me this phone because he's like, it wouldn't work. And I tried it. Between the two of us, we tried it on every single carrier. Doesn't work well. I did some deep research on the serial number of the phone. This one actually comes from Middle East somewhere. It's the one version of this phone that has a different chipset in it, and that's why I think it won't work. But somebody just pinged me over here on Matrix. That's why I'm pulling up the phone. We are live. Courtney says over on Matrix, I noticed that using Thunderbird's built-in themes, the way Firefox does it, is what fixed the theming for me. Really? Okay. Shoot me a link about doing that, because I tried the add-on themes and they didn't do anything. But that is another thing I can try, is doing the built-in themes. So yes, I will not take your advice on the USB stuff, but I will take your advice on that. Anyway, last line item. What will people choose? This is the sad part. Sadly, most of the world is just going to go where the computer companies take them. It's like they're going to dangle some chicken right in front of them, like a zombie down the road, like some Philadelphian drug user, and they're just going to go whatever direction they want to go. Because most people are not going to. And part of it is the confidence level, and part of it is just ignorance. Like, well, I guess this is where they go. And then they curse it. It's like Rage Against the Machine, like the most hypocritical band in nature. They make millions of dollars in a capitalist system preaching about how bad capitalism is. Would you shut up already? You're making millions of dollars, okay? It's the same thing. It's like, don't complain about all the crap they're making you do and then just keep doing it. What is it? Isn't it AA that says insanity is doing the same things and expecting different results? Did that not originate from them? I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it did. Somebody can let me know. We're a bunch of Linux geeks. Somebody might know. Those who resist will look for other options and likely find Linux. But then the question is, will those people have the confidence to give Linux a try? And that really is what it boils down to us as the community.
The problem, it's the same issue with that keeps Linux from gaining the advantage on the desktop market. It doesn't come pre-installed on the major computers that are sold, because most people don't install Windows. They don't install Mac OS X. They buy a computer at the store and they use whatever comes with that computer, and then they have some additional software that they want that they download, and more frequently now that they actually have a software store in Windows, they are using that software store to get but the operating system that comes with the computer is what they are using for the lifetime of that system.
Yep.
I think as time goes on and people that are using Linux bump into people that are struggling with Windows online, a lot of people know I use Linux. Most of them, and I tell them I use Linux and they don't know what it is. And I go, have you heard of Ubuntu? Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I knew someone that was using it. So I think it's right at the edge. It just needs to be shoved over a little bit and more people start finding it.
We had at our camp this summer, our astronomer's husband was in, and he worked for one of the big pharmaceutical companies. So he has two computers set up. His work computer, of course, the company issued one's the Windows stuff, but he's over there using Ubuntu. I'm like, oh, that's neat. And he's like, yeah, it's called Ubuntu. Ever hear of it? I said, I won't hold that against you. At least it's not Windows. I'm like, yeah, I do this stuff all the time.
More people recognize the word Ubuntu than they do Linux.
Yeah. And so, and that's the thing, but I've actually encountered people in real life that still think to this day Linux is just a terminal system. It's like, no. Yeah, it is. Like, really? Are you going to argue with me over this?
I know, it's like just the word Linux. It's like, to a lot of people, it's definitely terrifying.
Maybe we should just make up some better word for it. Like I don't know I'm not the creative mind here. Something like we can't do like Windows or something. That would guess.
Yeah, they tried that 20 years ago when Windows came along. Yeah.
How about if we do easy computing OS? There you go.
Or just straight up easy OS.
But that is what is very close to what Ubuntu used as their slogan. I think they use it to this day. Linux for normal people.
Yeah. So that's kind of our topic. Let's go ahead and look at our comments. So once again, if you guys see a specific comment you like to read, go ahead and read that guy out.
Yeah, there was one comment at the very start regarding the Vim section talk. Someone commented that initially it was called Ed back in 1976. The Ed editor still exists, and you can still install it. because the editors that they used on the PDP 11 systems back in the day and PDP 10 before that. Some systems had a screen, but you couldn't navigate more than one line at a time, and if you had to redo something, you had to type the entire thing all over again. So Ed is a one-liner editor. It's not quite the same. And the VI came a little after that when the terminal, because back then a terminal was a physical device it was a screen and a keyboard, and then you had a network connection to the server that hosted the actual system. And once they got some rudimentary displays that could handle normal terminal graphics that we're calling it today, then they could start using a visual editor, which was how VI started.
Yeah, one thing that people have mentioned to me is, they had to pay for Windows initially up when they bought their computer because it came with it and the price of Windows was built into it. But then they bring up all these other software things that they paid money for these tools or editors. I don't even think you get DVD codecs with Windows unless you buy them.
No, not after. I think it was after 7, or was it after XP? I forget.
Yeah, but you don't get them now. That's the point. People have paid money for this stuff and trying to get them. Well, convince them you paid money for all this stuff. If you use Linux, it's pretty much free. You give what you want. If you don't like it, you don't have to give nothing.
Yeah. But you also have the another issue that many people, which I think is stopping a lot of people, and that is the all-encompassing. If there's something that's free, then there is something wrong with it.
Yeah, just like Tom said, the zombies. If they throw money at it, they think it's great. If it's free, it can't be any good.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of a lot of what we find on particularly your fast growing YouTubers. Is they're just, every one of them is just pushing products. Dude, I don't want to push products. We have a problem of excessive consumerism in our culture, and we have to handle that. We have got to slow down the excessive consumerism in our culture. And Jitsi apparently just said, nope, we're not talking about that excessive stuff. I have no idea what just happened to Jitsi. I've never actually seen Jitsi turn into a white screen. I've seen it crash. I've never seen it turn into a white screen. So I'm not sure what's going on with it right now. I'm going to kill Jitsi and restart it. I've never seen that happen before. But while Jitsi's is coming back up, we're going to go ahead and...
Something, all right, cool.
There I am, I'm back.
Let's say like a quarter or who knows what.
My Jitsi just turned white.
So what I do is I actually use it for my videos,
I'm back.
And I'll actually say,
yeah, my Jitsi completely turned white on me.
Dear.
Yeah, and I have no idea what happened.
You also can call it the can-do can and put a list of stuff you need to do in it. And anytime you got some free time, pull out a note, and you got to do that.
So here's a dark future with Windows subscriptions. Wait till they start putting Windows on life support. Pay your subscription fee or Granny dies.
Oh, that's sadistic.
Yeah,
it's much like the medical system though now, right? I mean, it's not a lot different.
Like, an excellent plot line as part of a dystopian movie.
Yeah, I mean, I could add to my dystopian science fiction movie list here, book list here.
Yeah.
Too many heads stuck in the clouds, too many feet on the ground, or too few feet on the ground. Amen to that. Apparently, I just left the meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
and in
boy.
our sponsorship moment, this video is brought to you by iCAD.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I say.
So is that sitting on your round to it?
That's what I say when I use it. I hold it up like that, and I'm like the iCAD.
Yeah, but you should get a piece of paper with a circle and put to it in the middle, and then you can set your iCAN on the round to it.
Yeah, I also have a little pineapple light that's for a relative. I put that up, and I'll put it in the background, but I can take my iCam and put it on my head and be like, "Look at
There
me,
you go.
I can."
As soon as you get around to it, right? Homemade is not the same as consistency. Let's see. Braille screen. Let's see. I'm old. It's hair. Wait. I'd pay to permanently sanitize the internet of ads. There you go.
Yeah.
Apparently, we have Bin Laden in the YouTube comments. Yes.
Oh, do we have Bin Laden in the YouTube comments?
Yeah, there's a guy by that name in there. Yeah.
Hi, Bin Laden. I thought they got you.
Yeah.
Only have Google because of YouTube. There you go. Yep. Dude, stop.
My iPad just updated to iOS 16.3.
Uh-oh.
Oh, joy.
And let me guess, it did not ask your permission to do that.
It basically, the automatic update just came through.
Zombies will die in DC. The lack of brains is astounding. Well, you guys see, toxic slugs are starting to move into DC. It's like, we already knew this. Oh, you're talking about an actual animal. Yes.
Rosilla says out there, "Hey, MS, Dave's not here."
All right. Let's see. We got how many we got over on Odyssey? We got 24 watching over on Odyssey. If you're new around here, we do stream on multiple different places at a time, and you can find all those at switchedtolinux.com/live. Since Windows is a virus, MS will be offering virus as a service. There you go. Let's see. Cloud's just someone else's computer. No matter what we say, the government and the company will have access to it. Yes. Yes. And this is why I'm not a huge fan of the big companies. Even like all of these companies, right now we're seeing this huge influx of companies under the guise of privacy. Why am I trusting this company for a service I could be doing for myself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If your social credit score is not up to snuff, you can't listen to your music or look at your photos. There you go. Yep, Red Road Vagabond Life has it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start using the social score thing for that kind of stuff as well.
Oh yeah, I'm guaranteed.
If you're a loud, obnoxious person, they actually throttle back your time on the Microsoft server.
Yeah, there you go. It's like China right now is putting in more rules for kids about how much time they can spend on screen time. The government issued screen time. That sounds great.
There is one interesting comment on YouTube by Silver Adventures. He is wondering if, and I'm not sure if he's asking you, but he is wondering if you have any videos on setting up a local mail client to do backups of emails.
Oh, no, it's on my list. It is on my list. So there's a couple of applications that allegedly do that. And I actually forgot about it until I was doing my stuff today. I'm going, I need to look at that program. But yeah, it's on my list of things to look at. And but yes, that is something I would like to do soon. Ridiculous. What is the alternative to YouTube DL now? I think YouTube DL is still a thing.
Yeah,
it isn't.
But oh, that's not. So there are some alternatives out there as well. I forget what they are. But if you're looking for something like that on a GUI, Clip Grab is what I use, and it's available as an app image. So whatever the current one is, that will go and grab it. And I forget which one it is.
Because there was some news this week that the homepage of YouTube DL was finally taken down as a result of a court case in Germany.
Oh, okay.
And YouTube DL is the alternative to YouTube DL. So the
YT-DLP. Command line downloader. That's the replacement.
Yeah, and that is being actively maintained. And I am the package maintainer on my distribution for that.
Okay, good. So YouTube DLP. Rick Forge is on. Greetings, Rick. How's it going?
It's YT-DLP.
Yep.
Yeah, so 6 characters.
Just put that in the terminal, and then put the address of your video you want after it, and it'll download it right into your home folder's root.
Yeah, and it will grab the highest available quality.
Okay. Can you control the setting to if you don't want the highest level?
I'm sure
Yeah.
you can if you.
Yeah, there is a
read
few
the,
command line.
man page.
There is a few command line options, and you can set a maximum resolution for downloading if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Hey,
I'm not
Tom?
seeing any chat. I'm going to refresh the Rumble page because I'm not seeing any chat over there, and that's unusual. 17 people on Rumble and no one's talking. Yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
Hey, Tom, this news bulletin just crossed my attention right now. Mozilla Firefox 117 will introduce a built-in automatic translation feature for sites.
Yeah, I saw that. And then today, as I was getting super frustrated with Thunderbird, they posted on Twitter saying, hey, this is something we should put on Thunderbird. I said, no. Are you really emailing people you don't speak their language? Your software package has become bloated, okay? We don't need a translator inside Thunderbird. God's sake, we have enough crap inside Thunderbird. Stuff needs to come out of Thunderbird. They are literally killing one of the best email clients for the system. But yes, I did see that.
I mean, Thunderbird is the best email client. The second best one is Evolution.
No, I think Evolution's better. Way better.
Yeah, I'm using Kmail, so which the Kmail does have. It has a built-in backup function that I know a friend of mine.
Actually, Kmail and Evolution are very similar. I ran into issues very early on with Kmail messing up. It messed up some of my I actually deleted emails from a folder. It did something really weird. I can't remember what it is, but this is like years ago, so it might be fixed or it might have been new Linux user error. So,
I am using a 13-year-old copy, a 13-year-old distribution because of problems with the newer versions of Kmail. Because when Kmail 2 came along, it had an annoying bug that I couldn't live with, and that is because I have about 250 filtering rules in my email client, depending on who it's from and so on. And when it moves when a message comes in and it moves it from the inbox to the destination folder, it stores two identical copies of the email in the destination folder, and I can't live with that. I have no idea why.
I have Thunderbird set up like that. Like everything that comes from Amazon is automatically routed to an Amazon folder through the inbox.
Yeah,
for purchases and stuff like that.
Yep.
And
So, Salbu, was that on Evolution that called that copy? Kmail. Yeah, I don't remember that being an issue when I used it. It was like a more serious one, like it was like deleting whole email accounts or something, like killing things from the server even. But Evolution allows me to do all the sorting perfectly.
Yeah, so. I remember when I was moving my email handling from Windows 2000 20 years ago now. So I tried the various email clients, and I remember trying Evolution. The reason that I rejected it was there was two features that it didn't have, at least at the time. One was you couldn't configure it to not render HTML email. And you couldn't configure it by default to cryptographically sign every email that you send out using PGP, whereas Kmail can do both of those.
Yeah, I think it can do those now at this point. I'll have to look though. Not sure. Sprinkles talks about MailSpring. So I was going to look at MailSpring on my video that will come out on Saturday. So I pulled it up but I cut that footage out of the video because I pulled it up, and when you first get in there, it's like create a MailSpring ID, and I was like, never mind that crap. So I got rid of that, but there is actually a completely free no sign-in option that should allow you to use as well. I need to look at that option again, and also want to look at Blue Mail. So there's two email clients I did not get a chance to look at in the video that's coming out on Saturday. One of those is Blue Mail. One of those is MailSpring. But just a tip for anyone still here. I might replace Thunderbird with Geary, actually. I don't like that it doesn't have pop, but all of the emails that I use with Thunderbird right now, all of those emails are IMAP anyway. I use pop mostly with my other business stuff. So it's not a perfect solution, but it might actually solve my problem if I can't get the theming stuff fixed. All right, I think we're past 8, so we're gonna jump off here. So we'll hang out offline for a little bit, and then we'll be back tomorrow with the weekly news roundup. No Christian show tonight. Just did not have the chance to work on it. It was a crazy week. So with that,
a few comments just ending regarding the developer who died a few weeks ago. His heart was in helping children in Uganda specifically. He in 93 or 94 he lived in Uganda for a whole year, and his experiences in Uganda during that year resulted in him in 94 or 95. He was setting up a foundation that still exists to this day that funds a village community. And if for those of you who want to show appreciation of his very successful care for the development of Vim over the years, send some money to that foundation. It's a good start. You can find it on the Vim homepage. They have a link to the site.
Cool. Yeah, so go do that if you want to help support Vim, or if you've really liked Vim over the years, or you want to help the children in Uganda. There's a spot over there. So let's see, final wrap up. Ivan has a YouTube channel. Ivan, you want to promote your channel briefly? You're muted though. And Ricky, you'll be up next. So you're still muted on Jitsi. Now you're muted on Jitsi.
Press the M key on the keyboard.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna throw it in the chats for YouTube and Odyssey. So
all right. So and did you do a video after the Proton Pack, or the Proton Pack was the last one?
Yeah, I just did one yesterday. It was a short. It was me messing around with my Trapper Keeper.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Man, you know that thing pretty darn good, don't you? You let it just roll right out like you didn't even script it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bang out taking the video, and then I can just throw it together.
It's a diehard Ghostbuster fan.
Yeah. So the Anchorage, and he'll have that link in there. And Ricky, if you're still there, Ricky also has a YouTube channel, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88. I'm not sure if he's there or not because his camera's off and his microphone's off. But you can go find Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88. And with that, also, we will see you guys tomorrow for the weekly news roundup right about now tomorrow. So we'll catch you guys later.